Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the secret to making a man chase you isn't in trying harder, texting more, or begging for attention? What if I told you that the very moment you choose silence over chaos and softness over struggle, you unlock a power so magnetic that he will pursue you like never before? Today, I'm going to show you how to stop chasing and start attracting, how to hold your peace while making him fight for your presence, and why this simple shift will change everything in your love life. If you want, I can also give you 3 alternative hooks, each with a slightly different emotional punch, to see which will grip your audience the most. Do you want me to do that? When you step into a room with quiet confidence, something powerful happens. You don't need to raise your voice, demand attention, or chase validation. You become the person who is seen without trying, heard without shouting, and valued without begging. There is a unique kind of strength in a woman who understands that silence is not weakness and softness is not surrender. It is strategy. It is emotional intelligence. It is magnetic energy that pulls someone toward you without you taking a single step in their direction. When you choose to be silent, you're not withdrawing, you're observing, you're learning, you're deciding who is worthy of your energy and who is simply entertained by your presence. Silence allows you to see what words often hide. When someone truly wants you, you won't have to over-explain, over-give, or over-perform. They will show you with consistency, not confusion. They will step toward you with effort, not excuses. Your silence creates a space for them to reveal who they really are. And when you are soft, it doesn't mean you're passive. Softness is your grace, your emotional intuition, your ability to stay calm when everything around you is loud. Softness is your ability to remain feminine without losing your boundaries. It's choosing peace over drama, clarity over chaos, and standards over desperation. Men aren't drawn to softness because it makes you easy. They're drawn to it because it makes you rare. Anyone can be loud, anyone can be aggressive, anyone can be reactive. But being soft, that requires control, that requires certainty, that requires knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need to force a single thing. When you combine silence with softness, you become unforgettable. You give him something to figure out, something to respect, something to work for. He doesn't get to predict your every reaction. He doesn't get to feel entitled to your attention just because he wants it. You become the kind of person who can step back without feeling like you're losing anything. You become the kind of woman who knows that pulling away is sometimes the most powerful move you can make, not to manipulate, but to protect your peace and let him rise to the level you require. Because here's the thing, when you give too much too fast, you rob a man of the desire to pursue you. When you explain yourself endlessly, you remove the intrigue. When you fill every silence with reassurance, you remove the challenge. When you chase, he relaxes. When you beg for clarity, he gives you confusion. But when you stand still and centered, he gets the chance to step up. He gets the chance to feel the risk of losing you. He gets the chance to realize that access to you is a privilege he must earn, not a gift you hand out. Your silence becomes the mirror that shows him his own behavior. If he's inconsistent, he'll feel the gap. If he's not serious, your calm detachment will make him uncomfortable. If he's just playing, he'll disappear because you're not feeding the game. But if he values you, if he truly wants you, your quiet strength will ignite something in him. He'll move. He'll reach out. He'll pursue. Because the absence of chaos will force him to confront his true intentions. Softness does the same thing. When you respond softly, you invite him to lead with emotional maturity. You show him that your heart is open but not unguarded. You show him that you're gentle but not naive. You show him that you are feminine but not fragile. Softness is the energy that makes him want to protect you, cherish you, earn your trust, and treat you as something precious rather than something convenient. It makes him want to rise to be the kind of man who deserves the space you offer. Being silent and soft also frees you from suffering over someone who hasn't shown real effort. You don't waste time trying to decode mixed signals. You don't internalize his distance. You don't panic when he pulls back. Silence allows you to stay grounded instead of reacting emotionally. Softness keeps you centered instead of becoming defensive or abrasive. Together, they allow you to see the truth without forcing anything. And when you're in that place, you become impossible to take for granted. Let him wonder what you're thinking. Let him wonder why you're not chasing. Let him feel the shift when you stop filling every moment with your presence and start letting him earn access to it. Men are not inspired by pressure. They're inspired by possibility. They move toward what feels meaningful, valuable, and slightly out of reach. Not out of insecurity, but out of instinct. They chase what they respect, and they respect what doesn't beg. You don't have to be cold. You don't have to play games. You don't have to become someone you're not. Just be intentional. Speak when it matters. Move when you're sure. Give when you see effort. In silence, you reclaim your power. In softness, you reclaim your identity. Together, they create an energy that draws in the right man and repels the wrong ones. There is nothing more attractive than a woman who is steady in herself, a woman who doesn't flinch when someone pulls away, a woman who doesn't bend her boundaries because she's afraid to lose someone, a woman who doesn't fill the space with over-effort because she thinks love is earned through sacrifice, a woman who can sit in silence and trust that the right person will step forward, a woman who can be soft and still command respect. Being silent and soft is not about withholding affection. It's about withholding urgency. It's about not rushing the connection. It's about letting a man reveal his character instead of trying to push the story forward yourself. It's about valuing your peace more than his attention. It's about choosing to be pursued instead of convincing someone to choose you. When you operate from this energy, the man who wants you will feel it. He will chase, not because you played a game, but because you awakened a desire to show up. You become the woman he can't forget, the woman he's afraid to lose, the woman who stands out because she moves differently. And it all begins with choosing silence over chaos and softness over struggle. And when you truly begin to embody this energy, something shifts, not only in how he responds to you, but in how you respond to the world. You stop rushing, you stop overthinking, you stop trying to prove yourself. You no longer feel the need to match anyone's intensity except your own. Instead of reacting to every small change in his tone or every slight pause between his messages, you breathe. You remind yourself that your worth is not hanging in the balance of someone else's attention. You move with deliberate calm, and that calm becomes your power. This is the moment he starts noticing things he never noticed before. He notices the way you don't force conversations when he's distant. He notices the way you don't crumble when things feel uncertain. He notices the way you hold yourself with dignity, even in uncomfortable moments. He notices the way you listen more than you speak, how you observe instead of perform, how you stay grounded instead of spiraling into worry. It's in that space that he starts to feel something he didn't expect, respect. And respect is the foundation of real attraction. Silence makes him think. Softness makes him feel. Together, they make him pursue. Because when you're silent, you don't just stop talking, you stop giving him access to the easiest parts of you. You stop offering explanations he hasn't earned. You stop over-investing in situations that haven't proven they deserve your emotional generosity. Silence is not the absence of communication. It is the presence of boundaries. It's your way of saying, if you want more of me, you'll need to step up and show it. Softness reinforces that message in a deeper way. Softness isn't about pretending to be agreeable or shrinking yourself to appear more desirable. Softness is emotional clarity wrapped in grace. It's saying, I'm open, I'm receptive, I'm kind, but I am not desperate. And when you communicate that energy without a single word, he feels it in his core. There comes a moment where he realizes that your silence isn't punishment, it's self-respect. Your softness isn't weakness, it's strength. And that combination forces him to evaluate how seriously he wants to show up. This is where his true intentions surface. If he only wanted attention, your calm withdrawal will frustrate him. If he only wanted convenience, he'll move on. But if he wanted connection, real connection, your energy will awaken his instinct to pursue. Men chase what feels meaningful. They chase what feels rare. They chase what feels like it can enrich their life. When you stop chasing him, he gets the chance to chase you. When you stop filling every empty space, he gets the chance to miss you. When you stop over-explaining your feelings, he gets the chance to ask. And when you stop making it so easy for him, he gets the chance to rise. And here's the truth. A man can only appreciate what he feels he could lose. Not through fear, but through recognition of your value. When you're silent, it's not about withholding, it's about creating room for him to choose. When you're soft, it's not about being fragile, it's about being safe to love. Combined, these traits turn you into something unforgettable. You teach him that you're not here to rush him. You're not here to pressure him. You're not here to convince him of your worth. You're here to observe who he becomes in the space you allow. You're here to watch his actions instead of relying on his potential. You're here to see whether he grows into the connection or shrinks from it. And while he's figuring that out, something else powerful happens. You grow. You learn to trust yourself more deeply. You learn to sit with unanswered questions without losing your center. You learn to stay connected to your values even when your emotions want to run ahead of your standards. You learn to choose your peace over his inconsistency. And with each silent moment you allow, you reinforce your inner strength. Your silence becomes a teacher. It teaches you that you don't need instant responses to feel secure. It teaches you that space is not rejection. It teaches you that patience is not passivity. It teaches you that someone's inability to meet your needs is not your failure. Silence reveals everything, not just about him, but about yourself. Your softness, too, becomes a revelation. It reminds you that being gentle is not something to apologize for. You don't need to harden to protect yourself. You don't need to act indifferent to seem strong. You don't need to mimic masculine energy to be respected. You can be soft and still be powerful. You can be warm and still be unshakable. Softness is your advantage, not your burden. And when you carry both silence and softness together, you become a woman who moves differently. You're not competing for attention. You're not battling for validation. You're not bending to fit someone else's expectations. You're simply being present, grounded, confident, and calm. And that presence is intoxicating. This is the kind of energy that makes a man rethink his patterns. He begins to realize that if he wants to keep you, he has to earn you. Not through grand gestures, but through consistency, through communication, through emotional vulnerability, through effort that matches your energy. He begins to understand that you're not someone he can take for granted because you don't cling, you choose. And choice is far more powerful than need. He starts making the plans. He starts initiating conversations. He starts asking deeper questions. He starts showing up more intentionally. He becomes more present, more attentive, more invested, not because you demanded it, but because your silence and softness inspired it. You become a woman he thinks about when he wakes up and before he goes to sleep. You become the thought that interrupts his day, the energy he returns to, the presence he doesn't want to lose. You become the standard he begins comparing everything else to. And in that shift, you recognize that you never needed to chase. All you needed was space. Space for him to show you who he is, and space for you to stay rooted in who you are. You begin to understand that the right man doesn't need to be convinced. The right man doesn't get comfortable when you pull back. He gets motivated. The right man doesn't get intimidated by your calm. He gets drawn in. The right man doesn't get confused by your softness. He feels inspired to protect it. He chases you not because you're silent, but because your silence reveals your worth. He chases you not because you're soft, but because your softness reveals your depth. He chases you because you're no longer leaning forward. You're standing tall. He's chasing you because he feels something real, something rare, something grounded. And as he moves toward you, you no longer feel the need to rush the process. You've learned to trust the rhythm. You've learned to trust yourself. You've learned that your presence is enough. Your energy is enough. Your essence is enough. You don't have to do more. You don't have to be louder. You don't have to be harder. You just have to be aligned, silent when necessary, soft when appropriate, and steady always. And as you continue to embody this energy, you realize that silence and softness are not tactics, they are a lifestyle. They become part of your identity. You stop reacting impulsively to every text, every glance, every pause. You stop letting uncertainty dictate your self-worth. Instead, you create a steady inner rhythm that nothing external can disrupt. You are no longer at the mercy of someone else's emotions. You are at the center of your own. And when you operate from this place, your life transforms, not because you changed him, but because you strengthened. yourself. You begin to see the world differently. You notice who approaches life with intention and who drifts through it passively. You see who is willing to meet you at your level and who expects to be served without effort. You understand that attention alone is not enough, and that effort without respect is worthless. You no longer mistake interest for commitment, and you no longer accept inconsistency as a sign of affection. Your standards become crystal clear, and your actions align effortlessly with them. You don't have to explain why you expect more. Your presence says it all. The more you practice silence, the more you understand that your words are precious. You no longer fill every moment with chatter or explanations. You let your energy speak for you. Your calm becomes your statement. Your laughter, when it comes, carries weight. Your gaze, when it lingers, holds meaning. Every word you choose to share has impact because it comes from a place of choice rather than compulsion. You stop diluting your presence with unnecessary noise, and suddenly you notice that he leans in to hear more because what you offer now has substance. Softness becomes your anchor, your compass in a world that often prizes aggression over grace. You learn to be compassionate without being compromised, gentle without being weak, patient without being passive. Softness allows you to connect deeply, to inspire loyalty, and to cultivate a sense of safety that others rarely offer. When you are soft, you are approachable, yet not available to be taken for granted. You are receptive, yet discerning. And in this balance, you become magnetic in a way that forceful pursuits could never achieve. Silence and softness together teach a man the value of emotional labor. They show him that your affection, your attention, and your presence are not infinite resources to be tapped casually. He begins to realize that he has to invest in you, not just for moments of pleasure, but for the sustained joy of a meaningful connection. He begins to understand that your energy is not a given, it is a privilege. And when he grasps this, he begins to pursue with intention, consistency, and respect because he finally sees the woman you are, someone who deserves effort, not excuses. And as he begins to pursue, you notice something incredible. Your own power grows exponentially. You no longer define yourself through someone else's pursuit or absence. You remain centered, strong, and unshaken. You understand that you are not chasing validation, you are radiating it. You are not seeking approval, you are emanating it. Your life does not hinge on his actions, it flows independently, gracefully, and fully. And in this self-sufficiency, you discover a rare kind of allure that no manipulation or strategy could ever create. There will be moments when he tests your boundaries, when he pulls back to see if you will follow, when he hesitates to match your level of commitment. In those moments, your silence becomes your shield, and your softness becomes your guide. You observe without panic. You wait without anxiety, you respond without fear, and through your calm observation, you give him the opportunity to show you the truth of his intentions. This is where many relationships fail, because women react to inconsistency with drama or over-explanation. But you, having mastered the art of silence and softness, rise above it. You let the truth reveal itself naturally. In time, you notice a shift in his energy. The hesitation fades. The games disappear, the casualness transforms into intentional effort. He begins to show up with clarity. He begins to communicate openly. He begins to match your energy, not because you demanded it, but because your presence inspired it. And in this transformation, you witness something profound. Your power is not in chasing, it is in being, in holding your space, in maintaining your boundaries, and in letting him rise to meet you. And while all of this unfolds, something beautiful happens inside you. You learn to trust your instincts with greater precision. You become more attuned to the signals of sincerity versus pretense. You learn to differentiate between attention that is empty and attention that is earned. You understand that love and desire are not obligations, they are choices that must be actively made. And this wisdom, born of your silence and softness, allows you to navigate relationships with clarity, confidence, and discernment. You also discover that your allure is not about appearance or charm alone. It is about energy. It is about the quiet strength you exude, the calm self-assurance you carry, the way you protect your peace without pushing others away. It is about the magnetic combination of mystery and openness, firmness and gentleness, independence and connection. These qualities create a presence that commands attention without needing to demand it. They create pull that feels effortless because it comes from authenticity, not performance. And as he chases, you maintain your rhythm. You continue to live fully, pursue your passions, and nurture your purpose. You do not pause your life to accommodate uncertainty. You do not compromise your values to keep someone interested. You move with intentionality, grace, and a deep understanding that your energy is your most valuable asset. The chase becomes a reflection of your own alignment, not a test of manipulation. And in this alignment, you discover freedom, the freedom to attract the right person while remaining entirely yourself. Every interaction becomes a measure of alignment. Every pause in communication becomes an opportunity for observation. Every moment of softness becomes a lesson in power. You realize that relationships are not about who wants you the most in a desperate moment. They are about who chooses you consistently over time. And when you operate from silence and softness, you naturally filter out anyone unwilling to rise to that level, leaving space only for someone ready to meet your energy and appreciate your presence. And here is the subtle yet profound truth. The man who truly values you does not see your calm and your softness as obstacles. He sees them as invitations. He sees them as signals that you are someone worth effort, someone worth chasing, someone worth understanding. He recognizes that your boundaries are not walls. They are the contours of someone who knows her worth. He sees that your quiet strength is not distance, it is depth. He sees that your softness is not surrender, it is the most refined form of power. Through this journey, you come to realize that being silent and soft is not passive. It is active. It is deliberate. It is the conscious choice to honor yourself above all else, while still remaining open to meaningful connection. It is the ability to move through uncertainty with dignity, to maintain your standards without rigidity, to love without desperation, and to attract without compromise. And this, ultimately, is the energy that makes him chase. Not because he is forced to, but because he cannot help himself. Your silence creates space for introspection. Your softness creates space for connection. Together they create space for authenticity, for growth, for emotional intimacy, and for genuine desire. You no longer need to chase, because the right person is naturally drawn to the fullness of your energy. He is drawn to your independence, your clarity, your calm, and your warmth. He is drawn to your ability to maintain your center while still allowing love and connection to flourish. And in this magnetic space, pursuit becomes inevitable. And through this process, you cultivate not just a relationship, but a standard for all future interactions. You no longer accept less than alignment. You no longer tolerate inconsistency. You no longer settle for attention that is casual, fleeting, or self-serving. You expect and inspire effort. You invite and reward consistency. You teach and model respect. And by doing so, you elevate not only the connection you seek, but the version of yourself who is capable of sustaining it. Silence and softness are not just tools. They are the embodiment of a higher way of being. They're the art of knowing when to step back and when to engage, when to protect your energy and when to open your heart, when to observe and when to inspire. They are the blueprint for creating magnetic energy that draws in the right person and repels the wrong one. They are the framework for a life in which you are fully yourself, fully centered, and fully irresistible, not because you are chasing, but because you are fully present.